this is Jesse Rudovsky, and I have my father's 2005 Honda Civic Hybrid. This is an earlier generation hybrid, but nonetheless still a very good hybrid vehicle. 13 years old almost on the original batteries, and just under 150,000 miles. So not so much a test of miles, but definitely a test of time. As you can see here, here's a Prius driven by Roland Jagelum, and he has over 200,000 miles on the same batteries as well. This is the second generation. The hybrid vehicles have been around a long time now. It's been 20 years, believe it or not, in Japan. The first Prius was sold in December of '97, and then the Honda Civic Hybrid was first sold over there in 2001. And if we take a look over here, we got a first generation Honda Insight. This is a 2000 model. The first hybrid sold in America, beating the Prius out by roughly 10 months. First one, December of 1999. And this one gets about 70 miles per gallon, rain or shine. All aluminum body, so it will never rust. Typical fuel economy on the Civic Hybrid and the Prius, about 50 miles per gallon. So definitely a lot better than a regular car. And I also have a Prius, which I don't have here today. It's a 2010 model, 287,000 miles. So far so good on the same batteries. So one nice thing about the hybrids, for those who aren't ready to make the full step over, these don't plug in. You just add gasoline and go, just a lot less of it. The gas engine charges the batteries, and of course you have the regenerative braking anytime you step on the brake. So that's basically the first step, and then you have the plug-in hybrids like the Chevy Volt over there. Actually, that just left. The Chevy Volt, for example, says 53 miles all electric, and then switches over to the hybrid system. And then you have various different pure electrics, for example, the Kia Soul EV and the Nissan Leaf. And then, of course, those two Teslas. We'll be talking to Dave Berger in a little bit about his Nissan Leaf. And there are many different models at this point, whether you go hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or pure electric. And some of them kind of stand out, like the Prius, and some of them are based on more conventional models. For example, the Civic Hybrid right here really looks about the same as a regular Honda Civic, other than the little hybrid gasoline electric badging. So depending on what you like in terms of styling, there are many different options. Honda also makes an Accord hybrid. Nissan made the Altima hybrid for a while. Toyota makes a Camry hybrid, an Avalon hybrid, and there are even SUV options such as the RAV4 hybrid, the Highlander, and there are many others. Lexus has a bunch of models as well. So pretty much every manufacturer, even Chrysler, has a hybrid version, a plug-in hybrid version actually of the Pacifica minivan. So no matter what vehicle you'd like, there's pretty much an option out for everyone. There's even a company called Workhorse that's going to be producing plug-in hybrid electric pickup trucks with a total range over 400 miles, 80 on battery alone. And those are going to be produced in the next year or so, starting with fleets and then ultimately the general public. So I believe in the technology. I think this is the way of the future, and we have to do something to get off of fossil fuel. And this is definitely the way to go.
And hey there, my name is Jeff Mason, and I'm here with my friend Max Horn, and we're discussing the Tesla Model X today. This happens to be my personal car, and it's a 75 kilowatt hour battery, which gives the car a range of 235 miles. You can get it with a bigger battery, which would be a 100 kilowatt battery, and that would go about 290 miles. Is there anything you want to say, Max?
This is not my car. My car is in for service, so I'm experiencing a Model X. I have the Model S, which is 60 kilowatts. It's the basic Model X, and I'm probably right now about 225 miles range. I've had it for over a year, and I've got 29,000 miles on it, and I love it. I'll never go back.
So because these cars are all electric and they don't use any gasoline, there are some major advantages to an all-electric car. As a matter of fact, an all-electric car is better in virtually every single respect compared to a combustion engine car. You've got instant torque. It's a lot of fun to drive. You don't have to change the oil. You never have to go to a gas station.
You also have a network of Tesla superchargers. You can along the highways, and that's free. I happen to have solar panels on my home, so I'm always driving for free. I don't have to pay for any electricity.
The only two downsides to an electric car right now are the cost and the range. And as time goes on, the cost of electric cars are going to come down, and the range of the electric cars are going to go up. So we are eventually going to hit a tipping point where electric cars become less costly, less expensive than a combustion engine car. Now keep in mind with an electric car, you don't have to do oil changes. You don't have to worry about transmission fluid. You don't have to worry about spark plugs.
Radiators, exhaust systems.
There's no muffler. There's no catalytic converter.
Very simple.
So there's very little maintenance. And all these electric cars use what they call regenerative braking, which means you only use the accelerator for the most part. You're hardly ever touching the brake. And for that reason, brakes will last well over 150,000 miles. So you don't have to worry about brake changes either. And anything else?
That's about it. They're great. I'll never go back. I'm waiting for the new Tesla, the Model 3, which is a smaller car, less expensive, and it's they're just starting to produce it right now. There's 450,000 reservations, and as soon as they can get it up the manufacturing up to speed, they'll sell them all.
What I'm going to do first is just open up the driver's side door. And then this car is equipped with what we call falcon wing doors. And they open up. You only need 1 foot of space between this car and the car next to it. And all the doors have sensors in them. So if there is a car next to you, it's not going to bang into the car. The car is completely computerized inside. It has a 17-inch monitor, which is controls pretty much everything within the car. There are very few buttons inside the car. So you can actually get energy consumption. And you also have a full internet browser. Let's see if I can. And you've got music. And then you've got some settings. All your climate control is here, and then you've got controls here and settings. You get used to it pretty quickly. And in this particular car, we also have 2 seats in the way back, so we can show you those as well. And there's 2 seats back here. One of them is up, one of them is down. And we also have some storage down here as well. So there's plenty of storage in the car. This car is an all-wheel drive car, so it has 2 motors. It has one in the front, between the 2 front wheels, and it has 1 motor between the 2 rear wheels. So the car is an all-wheel drive vehicle. It is the best all-wheel drive vehicle of any vehicle in the world. This car is also one of the safest cars in the world. It's been named the safest SUV in the world. And one of the reasons for that is the battery pack comprises the entire floor of the car, which gives the car a very low center of gravity, as well as strength to intrusion. Because the car has such a low center of gravity and it has such a heavy weight, it's virtually impossible to flip this car. It is possible, but you got to try really hard. All the doors are remote control, and I'm going to shut all the doors right now. In this car, there is no start button. You simply get in the car and go. There's no engine to rev or key to turn. As soon as you get in the car knows you're there, and it just lets you drive it. All electric cars have what we call instant torque, which means they are very quick, and there's no acceleration lag when you step on the accelerator. This particular car goes from 0 to 60 in less than 5 seconds, and this is a 6,000-pound car. All the Teslas have a feature called Summon, which uses an app on your iPhone to connect to your car. It also gives you information about your car. You can start the heat, you can unlock the door, you can do whatever you want on the car from your phone from anywhere in the world. It's all basically internet based. But if you're ever parked between two cars and there's not enough room to get in and you need to move the car, you just use the Summon feature, and you can cause the car to come forward and kind of follow you. It does have sensors in it, so if it detects a person, it will stop. And that is called the Summon feature.
Hi, my name is Darrell Warner. I own this Chevy Volt. I love this car. And why do I love it? I have my deposit on the Tesla Model 3, but that car won't become available to me, I don't think, until 18 or maybe early 19. So my mission is to get off fossil fuels. So this is basically a really excellent crossover vehicle where I've taken 2 3,000-mile road trips in the car. But when I'm not at highway speeds, it's always on battery. And I didn't put gas in the car from March until July, because I drive around mostly less than 70 miles a day. And in the summer, I was getting 75 miles a day on my charge. And the charge is a little bit temperature sensitive. But today I started off with 68 miles of charge, and it was 40 some degrees last night. So at any rate, I love this car. It's a great car. It always runs on battery until the battery runs out, and then it switches over to gas automatically. You don't have to think or worry about it. So it's called a plug-in hybrid. And when I get the Tesla, hopefully my wife will take this car and get rid of her Prius. And Mass Energy Consumers Alliance has a really good program. I think it's massenergy.org. And they are taking their members to a lot of the car dealers around the state. And the car dealers are offering really good deals for members. So if you're interested at all, check that out on their website. It's called Drive Green, I believe, on massenergy.org. I really don't know what's under here. It's a gas engine. Obviously, there's some controls. The gas engine will come on. There's a setting where you can, it's called hold, and you can push a button. So once the engine is warmed up, you can drive highway speeds, and then when you get off the highway, let's say at 40 miles an hour or less, the gas engine shuts off and it just goes on battery as long as there's plenty of battery. So I really don't know what any of this is. The thing that this will do, so that time between March and July, when I hadn't put any gas in it, I was driving one day on battery, of course, and the engine came on. And on the dash it said, oh, we're just doing some routine maintenance. There's a little countdown. And I kept driving on battery. And then when it did that routine maintenance, it was starting the engine and stuff, the engine shut off, and I'm just continuing on battery. So I think it does that so that you know that the engine is working properly, lubricating, and maybe burning off gas vapors and things like that. So that'll happen if you don't start the gas engine periodically. It'll do it by itself. And it has a nice little screen here. So this is your basic screen. You have audio, so you can do radio stations, whatever. You can do XM, Sirius XM, and things like that if you have media. This is my iPhone. It'll show me my iPhone, things like that. You go back to home. Here's a phone. I can call up here like you would. Here, this is autoplay. So this is all of my my cell phone, phone, music, maps, gives you a good, you can use Siri. I'm going to go home, so that tells me 40 minutes from home, etc., just like what Siri would do. This is OnStar, navigation. And this is the settings. This is how you set everything, what works in your car, all the charging modes, the door locking, automatic, the lights on and off, teen driver, valet mode, just all these kinds of different things. This is a thing that's interesting. This is the flow. So if the gas engine is on, let's see if I can get the gas engine to come on. If the gas engine comes on, this is the gas engine. I don't know, it might not come on because I'm just sitting here. This is a generator and that's the battery. This is when you get home. It always defaults to 8 amps if you're on somebody's, like 110 circuit or something like that. But there is a 12 amp mode. See, I can set it for 12 amps here, but it'll always default to 8 amps unless you're at home, and it's got a you can tell it that you're going to be home, and it sets the GPS coordinates, so whenever you get home it automatically knows I want to go to 12 amps, whether I'm on 110 or 240 volts. And this is a little bit of something, gives you a score. Let's see, my driving score. Ooh, I got a 4.3. Technique is how much you do regenerative braking and stuff. Terrain, you can't really control that too much. Climate settings, heat and cold and stuff like that, and the outside temperature. So these top two are the things. Actually, this technique is really what you can do, and the climate settings, and you get a score. I think the best is a 5 or something like that. So other people have been driving this. Anyway, there's that kind of stuff. I don't even know what any of this is. All it tells me how much gas, because I was showing people on, it's called a hold mode, where you could go on the highway and use gas. Yeah, I don't know. That's all that kind of stuff. And then if you want to do a text, I don't know, you can do stuff like that. So that's this. It has a backup camera. So I have a foot on the brake, but the cameraman's behind me. But there he is. There he is. So this is really good, and it gives you the lines to help you back in and out. I know Tesla, you do it automatically, but this really does help you park. I think that's pretty much what that is. So the charge port, I have a 240 volt charging station at home, which I can charge pretty much in 4 hours from a completely dead battery on 110, and they give you a cord with the car that charges on 110. That'll take about 12 hours to charge. And here's the charging port. It's a little bit bigger than the Tesla, but you open this up, and then you plug in your cord, either the 110 or the 240 volt. Fits right in there. You can charge standing in water. Doesn't hurt you. It's a very smart thing. That you have to have a ground, a good ground on your circuit, or it won't charge. You can plug it in, but it won't charge. So it knows things like that. The gas fueler is on the other side of the vehicle, so you would never confuse the two. And thank you, Jesse, for having us all here. It's a great event, and I met a couple of really nice people, and took 2 or 3 test drives in my car. So pretty much I let anybody drive the car as long as you have a license.
Okay, this is Jesse Rudovsky again from the New England Electric Auto Association, and we have David Berger here with his 2013 Nissan Leaf fully electric vehicle.
Hey, hello. Yeah, this is a 2013, the first year they were made in the U.S. And it's a SB trim with all the options, and I got it for $8,000 secondhand, because they lease 80% of these cars, and at the end of the lease they all go to auction. And they hit the secondhand market at between $7,000 and $10,000. So they're really, really affordable.
How much did you pay for this vehicle?
I got it for $7,995.
And with how many miles?
39,000.
And how many miles a day would you say you typically drive?
40.
And this is the 24 kilowatt hour version, so roughly an 80 to 100 mile range depending on your speed and terrain and temperature.
Yeah, I'm getting 88 to 93 miles average.
And in the wintertime, do you notice much of a difference, or is it not so bad?
I bought it in January. I really didn't notice whether there was a drop or not because I don't drive that far.
And even though this is a so-called mainstream electric vehicle that's affordable now to the masses, certainly not as quick as a Tesla, but still, would you say, very easily keeps up with traffic and does everything you need to do?
Absolutely. I shut off the traction control and peel out now and then because I feel the need.
Sounds good. And I believe you had another electric vehicle before this. Can you tell us a little bit about your history with EVs?
Well, they still were just talking and not selling anything in 2010, so I bought a Chevy S10 conversion that was done in the late 80s or the early 90s. And that was costing me $20 a month to do my work commute. And for 15,000 miles a year, it was $300 in electricity. So that let me pay off my second mortgage and my credit cards so I could afford to put this car on financing.
And can you tell us what town you live in and what's the rate per kilowatt hour?
I live on the Medway line in Franklin, and I think it's with the taxes and the destination charges and all the bullshit, it's 22 cents is the actual cost, the complete actual cost for the electricity per kilowatt hour.
It's definitely much cheaper than gasoline, for sure.
Absolutely. I love it. I call up my friends and ask them if they want to go shopping, and then I'll jump over into the passenger seat and make them drive. It's kind of my evil plan to ruin them on gas.
Now, of course, you can charge at a 110-volt wall outlet if you don't want to install a charging station. You get about 5 miles or so back per hour. But, Dave, if you could show us the other charging ports, because you can also charge a lot faster.
Yeah, this has the DC quick charge port, and it'll let you charge to 80% in 20 minutes, and to about 91 or so percent, it'll take about 36 minutes. And you can go from Bangor, Maine, all the way to Virginia on the I-95 or Route 1 corridor, and every 40, 50 miles or so, they have the DC fast chargers. And, well, some of them you have to have a card to turn them on and, belong to some sort of a plan. But some of them are free. You go on PlugShare and ChargePoint, and you can click on individual charge stations and see which ones are free. But yeah, the quick charge stations, they do charge you money for. Most of the public chargers, like the regular charge port, most of those are free.
And one final thing, there are some naysayers out there that try to make a claim that electric vehicles simply so-called move the pollution. How would you respond to that?
Well, here in the greater New England area, a gasoline car would have to get more than 100 miles to the gallon to equal the how clean an electric car of any kind is.
Okay, so Dave's now going to show us some of the main features, and of course you can see there's no true engine in here because there's no gasoline or oil whatsoever. So Dave, you tell us what's actually going on.
Well, some of the options I was interested in when I was looking for the car were the 6 kilowatt charger. The 2013 is the first year for the 6 kilowatt charger, and it'll allow you at a public charging station to charge in half the time that previous model years. It's also the first year for the heat pump air conditioning, and that uses 5 times less electricity than previous model years to heat or air condition the car. And I got the LED headlights for efficiency. And of course the car has the navigation.
You can have the car move.
What else? I don't know. That's all for the things under the hood.
Okay, so Dave's going to talk about some of the interior features here.
Proceed to the highlighted route.
Yeah, it has full navigation. I got the AM, FM, XM, CD, and navigation with the car. I don't know what to show you on here. The navigation is set right now, but there's a lot of features and screens, energy and the energy. Climate control. Well, it'll tell you how much you're using on the climate control, how much energy you're using from the motor or the regen.
Okay, it's Jesse again from the New England Electric Auto Association. We have Marci here from Winthrop, and she's going to talk to us about her new Kia Soul electric vehicle.
Hi, I'm actually unusual in terms of the rest of the group here because I'm not an enthusiast at all. In fact, I just got this car like a month ago. I went in. I went into the dealership fully expecting to buy a gas vehicle, but then with all the rebates and incentives that are currently available, and the fact that I would have no more gas, no more oil changes or other maintenance other than tires and brakes, I impulsively got into electric. I mean, it was something always on my mind, but it was never there yet. But my current lifestyle, I only have like a 12-mile commute to work, so 24 miles a day, and I don't need to plug in, every day. I don't need to gas up every day, or I only need to plug it in, a couple times a week. So,
But you love it.
I love it. It's a lot of fun. We got the little, it's a hamster car. I was thinking I was gonna get. I have kids, and I need to, I have a teenager and all, and we need to be able to fit them in the back as well as maybe a friend or two. I also needed to be able to, haul something from like BJ's or Costco in the back, and it has all that in there. But then again, no gas, which is just awesome.
And no inspection stickers either, other than normal safety, no emissions testing.
Yeah, definitely no emissions testing. That's really
Just
awesome.
the normal safety inspection. Let's take a look at the charging ports here really quickly. So of course she can plug in at home at a regular 110 volt outlet, but she can also go to any public charging station with the level 2, the standard J1772 adapter, which you'll find all over the place. And then she also has the CHAdeMO port, which can bring the vehicle from 20 to 80% charged in 30 minutes.
Right. The CHAdeMO is pretty much for like when you travel, like, you're doing highway driving or so, and you need to recharge. Currently, when I charged up this morning, even though the manufacturer, it says you have 93 miles worth of range, today when I turned the car on after having a full charge overnight, I had 119 miles of estimated range that it said. So you could use the CHAdeMO for, you can go like about 90 miles or so, and then you need to find a CHAdeMO station to plug in, and then it takes like a half hour to get the thing close to like either 80%, in some cases fully charged. I took it out recently and I got it down to, I had like 9 miles of range left, and I needed to get charged up right away, and it took 37 minutes to get to 97%. But generally speaking, I mean, that's for the highway. For daily use, I just plug it in. I just plug it into my house into a regular 120 volt outlet. I don't have anything special, and that's usually overnight. That's all it needs. And again, I don't do it every day. I do it like every 2 days, maybe 3 days. And you can also get, you can get what they call a level 2 charger for your house for a 240 volt, and it's supposed to bring your car to a full charge for within 4 hours. In the month that I've had it, like we were all for, putting one of those chargers into the house, but my lifestyle currently, we found out I didn't need it, so we're probably just going to save the $400 or so and not install one in our house.
I mean, the fact is the average American really only drives 50 miles a day. 90% of America drives 50 miles a day or less, in fact. So in many cases, just plugging in at a 110 at 4 to 5 miles an hour, you're going to go to work, come home, plug it in, takes about 10 seconds, and we're going to wake up in the morning with a full charge and just do it all over.
Definitely. My husband is, he has one of those little meters for his, for all the, that we can put on certain appliances and all, and tested this out, as soon as we got the car, we tested this out after charging it, and we found out that plugging the car into our house is the equivalent of like adding a window air conditioner to your house. So that's about how much we pay for it.
Of course, if you end up going solar, then you'll be running the car for virtually nothing.
Oh, that would be awesome. And, we're already thinking about that. This is the interior of the car. It's actually it's screen enabled, which is something, I went from a Pontiac, Montana, which is like this great big, family van sort of thing. And now having something that actually has a working radio and navigation, and it's also screen enabled, so I can turn on, like we can find out what the eco mode is on this. Currently, driving here, like I said, when I turned the car on this morning, I had 119 miles on the car in range. I live in Winthrop, which is over 20 miles from here. And we also had a couple errands this morning, so I haven't plugged in or anything since then. So we did 20 miles plus a few miles worth of range, and plus a few miles this morning of bringing kids to like dance lessons and stuff like that. So it actually, even though I started at 119, the distance here was 20 miles. So like, kind of like do the math. It's not, I actually, it's all estimated in terms of the traveling on how you travel. Like if you have the air conditioning on, you might use up a little bit more juice. To get to this particular event, there was actually a lot of traffic, so I didn't actually, so it was a lot of low speed travel and a lot of braking. You can also, one of the cute things on the Kia is they have a tree to find out how eco you are in terms of driving. Now, since we're sitting here and all, we're not going to have a very full tree because it's just simply drawing power. So right now we only have 4, but it goes up to 8. And if you go up to level 8 in terms of your driving, you can get you grow your tree. So it's just a graphical interface that's kind of nice and cute. You can see, like I was saying, today, for example, I did 29.2 miles, but I only used about, like roughly 20 miles worth of, electricity or so to get here.
It looks like you averaged 5.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is really good. And that's going to vary, just like miles per gallon will vary depending on your speed, terrain, weather conditions, stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and then you have the low stuff, which is like this 0.68 here was bringing my kids to school. That was like, it was just small. So and also the heat was blasting, and the kids turned on the heated seats and everything else on there. So then, it's all how economical you want to be. One of the nice things, like Tesla has something similar, but like Kia, they have you can set your heat or your climate controls for just the driver, so that you're not trying to cool off or heat up the entire car, but just like the driver area. Because when you get in the car in the morning, you've already told your car to say, okay, I want my car to be 72 degrees when I get into the car, even though it's like 40 degrees out, right then. So it's kind of nice. It preheats the car, and it's nice having it already plugged in the morning. So it's all, when you get in, it's a real awesome convenience factor having the car nicely heated when you get in the morning. So far, that's been like probably one of the most favorite things that I've had since getting this, and because I've never had a car with a remote start or anything like that before.
Okay, so we're going to be wrapping things up soon at the Whitman, Massachusetts Public Library, and these were just some of the electric and hybrid vehicles that are available for purchase today. certainly check out NEEAA.org, and you can follow our group. We're also on Facebook. There's a Facebook link on the website, and we generally do events once a week until the weather gets really cold.
We had been called up for the first time. Wildfires were getting close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.